Okay, we're back. We're live. We're here on a Monday afternoon, 4 to 5 block, ThinkTech Talks. Talking about community matters today. Talking about sub-metering for Hawaii's condos and other multi-family units. Okay. All right, with Marty Sanders, who's with Smart Solutions, and Jim Leonard, who's with InTech 21. They know each other, and they collaborated. They have some kind of agreement. We're going to investigate that, exactly what that is, how that works. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Great to have you here. So let's do more of an introduction. Since you're younger, Marty, why don't we talk to you first? Tell us who you are,
Okay.
where you came from, how you got in the studio. You know?
Okay, I got in the studio. Well, I'm the publisher of the HawaiiStateCondoGuide.com, which is an online directory providing all information on every condo in the state of Hawaii.
You must know Rachel Glanstein.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yes.
Yeah, she was here sitting in that seat
Ah,
a few weeks ago.
yeah.
It's all one big happy condo family.
We are all one big happy family. Anyway, I'm a realtor, as one of my other hats that I wear. And through the HawaiiStateCondoGuide.com, it has become a resource that has been used by people who have services that can benefit condo boards, but primarily money-saving benefits. A number of people over the years have quite a few people over the years have contacted me, and usually I'm just shining it on because I don't know, and I don't know them. I don't get the great feeling. I don't know what they're up to.
So let me
However,
get this straight.
yes.
People asking you questions about how condos work, and you're answering questions, and you're a realtor, and you begin to develop some personal knowledge about this. So you say to yourself somewhere along the line, I know about condos, and I know what a website looks like. I think I'll make an online condo guide and try to help people do that. Is that what happened here?
Well, in a sense, what happened was
Once you put the water down below, stand it up so it
there
doesn't.
you go. In a sense, what had happened was I was working with a partner. He was the tech, I was the talk, and we developed an online version of Tax Maps Hawaii, which is still going strong. Realtors kept saying, what we really want is a condo guide. We want a guide that'll give us all the information. Everything exists here, there, 10, 12 different places. We want something that we can go to and have it right there. So we developed the HawaiiStateCondoGuide.com as a tool for people to use.
Is there a business model on this? Do they pay for it?
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah,
great answer.
That's actually how we got hooked up.
That's how we got hooked up. It became an extraordinarily useful tool with a lot of usage, to the extent that if he doesn't look for, if you put in the name of any condominium in town, I would say about 60-70% of them, I come up number one as the go-to person for them. And so what was happening is, as I mentioned, people were constantly contacting me. I was backing off because I didn't know them and I didn't know their products. This year, several people came. Jim was one called me, and actually Jim was recommended to me by Hawaii Energy. I was recommended to Jim by Hawaii Energy as a resource for meeting condo boards, for meeting property managers. And so he contacted me, and when I saw what InTech 21 could do, how it was just head and shoulders above the other sub-meters and so on, it was like, yeah, let's talk. And we talked, and it was like we clicked.
All right. When was this?
This was a year and a half ago.
Yeah. January, February of 2013.
Okay, so let's have the story from Jim's side now and see if it's the same or different. And if there's anything you want to, correct Marty about, this is your opportunity.
I will take that opportunity. So we were contacted by a consulting engineer in New York because all of our work up until that point has been northeastern submetering, Philadelphia, New York, some places in Connecticut.
This is the company called InTech 21.
InTech 21.
Which is a national company.
InTech 21 is really a regional company, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
In New York City, there out of the millions of 2.5 million apartments that are there, 400,000 of them were built in such a way where electricity is included in the rent or included in the maintenance fee, which just means that nobody really pays for what they use. There's no accountability. There's no fairness.
You know what? In those days, it didn't make much difference because electricity was, I hate that electricity was a lot cheaper then.
A lot. A lot.
Small stuff.
A lot. Oil, energy in general was cheap.
Right.
So the state, New York State, NYSERDA sponsors a submetering program, and because of the law change here in Hawaii in April of 2012, that reverberated itself around to the East Coast because Hawaii Energy has elected a managing partner. HECO elected Hawaii Energy as their managing partner. They reached out to our consultant. Our consultant said, "Hey, did you know something happened?" We sent our credentials to Hawaii Energy. We were immediately, because of how well we do it there, on the list of...
Why are you interesting to Hawaii Energy, their energy efficiency? Exactly what do you do that lends to efficiency?
So, HECO understands that if you know how much you use and you're accountable for how much you use, you will use less.
So it's a simple point in psychology.
Very simple.
It's elegant.
Very simple.
If they know, they'll use less.
It's immediate feedback. If you know how much you're going to use, you'll use less.
Yeah, okay.
So they have an incentive here. It's $150 per meter that gets installed. We were put on the approved vendors list, and you guys are 6-hour difference from us. So I get home from a normal work schedule, eat dinner with the family, with the kids, put them to bed, have some alone time with my wife. How did they go? And then I'd get onto the internet, and I would just Google every time I would Google a particular property. I wound up going to his website, HawaiiCondoGuide.com, and in there it would allow me to go and drill through whether the electricity was included in the maintenance or not.
Because it was in the condo guide.
Because it's in the condo guide.
Because Marty went and asked them, is it included in the maintenance or not?
And within a week, within 5 days of me, not necessarily with Marty's knowledge, but with I would filter in, and I was able to come up with 10,000 apartments that were built in Waikiki alone that have no accountability. I don't have boots on the ground here, but so I know the opportunities here.
Sounds like an opportunity.
I know there's an opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
So I call this guy and say, look, every time I'm doing this thing, I'm on your site. I appreciate it. Can I give you money if this thing ever happens? Just as a
it's always an interesting call. Somebody calls you up.
Can I give you money?
I don't get calls like that, but Marty, you're a lucky guy. What can I say?
Yeah, good business model. So as he said, no, Jim, look, it's there. It's a resource. So I said, you know what? I'm coming to town. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? At least thank you. Buy lunch. And so we sat down and we talked about it. And he said, so what exactly what is it that you do? And I said, well, you have a meter on the side of your house. It's round. It plugs into a socket outside. Somebody comes up and they read it. He goes, yeah. I said, well, then you pay for it. And I explained to him what the electricity maintenance included, which I'm sure he knew what it was, but really never put the two and two together. And he says, aha. So you mean to tell me that this gets installed in the apartment? Yes, it does. How long does it take to install? About an hour. And what are the results? The results are that once you implement that feedback, that cooperative or condominium will consume 20% less than they did last year. Now,
how do you know this 20%? I mean, take a study.
Absolutely.
Really?
Oh,
okay. So
hundreds.
You say you start out on baselines as well. They
Baseline.
consume this much, and then you tell them how much they consume, and then they consume 20% less.
Absolutely. And we've done it. See, what I like about this industry, which I've been in for 25 years.
What were you, 4 when you started?
14. but thank you.
Just check.
Thank you. what I like about it is, and everybody thinks, well, that's in New York, right? That's in New York. Can't happen here. Well, we're in the process of our first installation, where we've got 60 meters installed out of 200, one tower. And if you, yes,
Let me interrupt.
Yeah.
Sorry. What does it take to install a meter? This is not easy, and this is more than $150, rebate. This is several $100, right?
more than.
More.
I mean, we have no. We can go to almost every building and say it's going to be less than 600 to get it done, to get it
Okay.
installed.
All right.
So-
And it will. You make that happen.
Not a problem.
Okay. What physically does it require you to do? You have to.
Are you
make
home?
holes? Okay. Knock on the door.
Knock
what
on
happens?
the door.
I love this conversation.
The most
You
important.
guys are so responsive. Good for you.
The most important part for us, once we start this, is that we get access to the apartment. When we get access to the apartment, it is 1 hour from the time we enter the door till we close the door. And when I say we,
The team. Yeah.
the team, which is we have nothing to do with installation. We
Yeah.
are just the vendor, if you will,
Yeah.
and we provide manufacturer support for the equipment.
Qu'est-ce que c'est this object? That's French for what is this?
Okay.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? What is this equipment here? It's on. It's reading something. What is it saying?
Right now, let me explain you to this. The meter that you have on the side of your house, you don't know what it says.
It's a matter of some consternation to some people, yeah.
Okay. 20 years ago, even if you'd have to take a learning lesson to figure out how to read it, because it had concentric dials. One that would round this way, the next one would go backwards, the next one would go right.
Yeah.
So at least the industry, from the metering industry, has gotten to the point where we can all read it. We can go outside and
What was
read
that
it.
one to the right? What does that mean?
It's a concentric dial.
What does that mean?
So you would start at 0
Yeah.
and go from 0 to 9 this way.
Yeah.
The next dial would start at 0 and it would go 0 to 1 this way.
Yeah.
And the next dial, so it would have 5 dials that would go clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, and
What was the point of that?
that was the
Make it
that
easy.
because it was electromechanical.
Yeah.
That's the only way the gear mechanisms would
It was
continue
gears.
to roll.
It was for the benefit of the gears.
It was really high tech.
Really? At the time, I'm sure it
No,
was.
it wasn't.
Okay.
It was the only way to get it done.
Gears. Okay.
Yeah,
gears.
the only way to get it done.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all gone through our lives all these years. We didn't know about that. Thank
No.
you for elucidating.
You're
on
welcome.
that.
You're welcome. So now go to the next level. In New York City, these buildings have been built in the 40s. So we have first, second, and sometimes third generations of families that have never really paid their electric bill. They don't know what a kilowatt hour is. They don't know the difference between a incandescent bulb versus an LED bulb, and they really don't care. When they go to make a buying decision based on a refrigerator or an air conditioning unit, it doesn't matter what the EER or the SEER means. It's irrelevant.
The building pays for it.
It's free,
Yeah.
and they know it's not technically free, but that's the way they really think about it. There's no financial.
That's not the
transaction.
new buildings. That's the old buildings.
That's the new buildings, and you should
It's the
know.
new buildings.
I apologize. The new buildings, the old buildings are like that. There was a law called PREPA, PREPA, that changed everything in 1978. So up until 1978, you could build a building, put in one hecometer. I do this because it's round, and however many units you could walk away. So then, we went through the first oil crisis in the mid 70s, early 70s.
And this new bill came up
New bill comes up and says, okay, everybody has to be metered
in New York, in the state of
in the United States.
United States.
Absolutely.
And what year was that?
1978.
Okay, now hold that thought. We've gone as far as 1978.
Yes.
It was a transitional year in this department. We're going to take a short break so you can sort of integrate on that information now that you met Marty and Jim, and then we're going to come back in a minute and we'll hear more detail and we'll be better advised about
Right.
exactly what this means nationally and locally
Right.
and in New York too.
Right.
Okay, so this is ThinkTech Talks. We're doing community matters because they do. We're talking about sub-metering for Hawaii's condos and multifamily units with Marty Sanders and Jim Leonard, and we'll be right back. I really mean it. You'll see.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage here on the ThinkTech Digital Series. The show is every Wednesday from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and I want you to watch this show because I think that when we talk with artists on the show about what they do, how they do it, and most importantly, why they do it, I believe that it resonates within each of us, and we find something inside of ourselves that brings us closer to all of humanity. That's what arts are there to do, and that's what I'm here to do on this show. That's Center Stage. It's on every Wednesday from 2 to 3 o'clock. I hope to see you there.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're here at ThinkTech Talks, Community Matters. We're doing sub-metering for Hawaii's condos and other multifamily units, buildings, with Marty Sanders with Smart Solutions and Jim Leonard with InTech 21. And as we left the exciting story with Jim just before the break, he was telling us in the year 1978, a big change.
Big change. Huge
National
change.
legislation.
Absolutely.
You have to have sub-metering. Across the...
Everybody has to be metered. Whether it's sub-metered, direct metered,
Okay.
everybody has to be.
And this is fair.
Fair. Well, it's accountability. They knew that if they knew.
Who lobbied for that bill?
I honestly don't know.
I mean,
I'm not old enough.
Probably the political vectors at the time would be different today. Who knows? Somebody lobbied for it. It became the law. It applies to all 50 states. Okay, and how did that change everything?
What changed is you can no longer build a building with one master meter as a point of reference for the energy use in the building.
And this doesn't apply to old buildings. In other words, the building was built before the 1978.
Grandfather.
Right? It was grandfathered in, and nobody had to do anything.
Correct.
But for the new ones, you had to have a meter for every single apartment.
Yes.
Which was a good thing because it, as you said, the psychology was there, and if people knew what they were spending in electricity, they would spend less.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So that applies to every state. What happened? Did we all of a sudden start using 20% less electricity across the board? Was there some miracle that followed?
I will tell you that those buildings that were built that way as a baseline do use 20% less than the ones that don't.
But?
No buts.
Okay.
Now we're in the process of trying to go rescue those and bring those buildings to the 21st century, right?
The older ones.
The older
now.
ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me get this sounds pretty good. So every multi-family, multi-unit building in the country built after 1978, except those lawbreakers who didn't care about.
There are a few.
There are a few, I'm sure. But every multi-family building after 1978, there is no problem because everybody gets their own electrical bill.
Yes.
And they can have that psychological moment and
Yes.
save money, and efficiency is there.
Yes.
Okay, so your job, and I guess that means you two together, eh? Your job, what a perfect alliance this is. Mr. Condo, Mr. Meter. Condo Meter.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Hence the name of the show.
Yes, it's very simple.
So you guys get together and you say, well, there's a huge market out there of condos built before 1978 that need to be upgraded for the very reason of electrical efficiency.
Yes.
Okay. And so you wake up one morning and you realize that Hawaii, through the condo manual from Marty, you realize that Hawaii is a perfect market.
Perfect.
Okay, what do you do then?
We start to prospect, meaning I got on, because we didn't have an agreement yet, but I already knew of buildings and how to use his website to figure out where to go, which I got to say is wonderful here. I personally, I meet Marty on my first day. I've got a brother-in-law who's living here. I can shack up at his place. At that time, I'm getting cheap flights. So the prospecting business, right, is not really that expensive. And I don't have any sales calls lined up because when you go to his website, you can figure out what number to call, but you don't know who to call, which is okay. At least I know where the building is. I know, so all I have to do is cold call.
So it's cold call. So I looked at Marty's book, and I found you guys haven't sub-metered yet.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you that you could save 20% of the collective electric bill for everybody in the place if you sub-metered.
Yes.
And you get the $150 rebate, and I'm going to guarantee the price will be, $500 or something for the installation of the sub-meter. Who would say no to that?
What's interesting?
Name them. I want their names.
Well,
I
gladly. And I'll tell you who they are. The people who were opposed to that were those people who were landlords of rental condos, especially those in the vacation condos, because they wanted to make everything nicey for their tenants, and run the air conditioning and leave the doors wide open and go down to the beach with the door open and the air conditioning on. Hey, I'm making my X number of dollars per rental. So
they were eating that 20%, though, those guys.
No, everybody else in the building every
Oh,
owner-occupant in the building. The owner-occupants in the building
Didn't matter.
who were like closing every window, turning off the air conditioning, and nonetheless, even with that, personal austerity, we're noticing their maintenance fees go climbing and escalating. And not only were the maintenance fees escalating, but the electricity portion of the maintenance fees were taking over the whole maintenance fee to the point where other things that needed to be done to upkeep the buildings were not being. There was no money to handle the landscaping, the cleaning,
problem.
the spillover effect of all the money going to pay for the electricity.
Yeah.
And those who were the
owner
occupants,
statewide effect too.
and those who were the occupants, the owner occupants, were, as I said, they're living this austerity on their electricity, and the other people are just like slightly to the left of Whoopi. Just we're here on vacation. Who the hell? Why do we care?
So what do you? We'll come back. But what do you do when you find a building like that, where you talk to the landlord and he doesn't care?
They don't. That's where
So
Bill 18 comes in. You no longer need 3/4 or 67% of the shareholders or of the condo here, the AOAOs.
Okay, let's go.
Now
Bill
you
18.
can just
You haven't told them what Bill 18 is yet. And that it was adopted by the Hawaii State Legislature in 2012, 2 years ago.
Right, in April of 2012, and that bill says no longer, regardless of the bylaw.
Our control room wants to know exactly what that was. April 2012.
April of 2012.
And it's Bill
Act 18.
It's called Act 18.
Because I think our control room person is living in a building like that.
Uh-huh.
Wants to know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave this for him.
So, yeah. So, what Act 18 did was, it said, regardless of what the bylaws of a condo association say regarding what it takes to make changes, whether it's 75% or 67%,
Overrides that.
it's like, hey, the board.
This is
This is
an emergency.
an emergency. The board can make the decision.
So you don't have to go to the owners.
No.
The individual apartment
Exactly.
owners.
So
This
therefore,
is a great bill.
it
an awesome
circumvents the profligate roadblocks, and it just now there's clean, open sailing, clean waters, open sailing.
Well, I was saying before we started the show that condos are in many ways in Hawaii anyway. They're a flawed concept. Sometimes they don't work right. But this kind of bill actually is very visionary because it means things can happen, and you don't get stuck in looking for consents from people who are absentee landlords overseas don't care. This way you actually get it done. And this bill is not only good for energy efficiency, it's good in concept for maybe other things that have to be done in a condo.
Sense of communitas. Now everybody is pulling together for whether they like it or not.
Did you say communitas? Yeah. A minute ago you said profligate. Now you're saying communitas.
Oh, you found me out.
This is a show one cut above our average.
God, you found me.
Show.
I'll try to keep it down to 2 syllables max.
Okay. I want to say this. Just to give you an idea.
My favorite syllable is most of the time. So.
Just to give you an idea, the project that we're working on now, I'll leave the names out. It's 3 towers. We're as of today, we're 100% complete on 1 tower. Now, the building is old. The electrical infrastructure to it is aged. It's got one transformer, and their fear is that that transformer is going to blow because of all of the increase in energy appliances that we've tacked on since the building's been built. Right? So what they have enacted into their bylaws is that no one shall have an air conditioning unit. Now, since this one,
that's an interesting solution.
Once this building was once the building that we've done already, we've already found 3 air conditioning units in the one building. We haven't brought that to anyone's attention because it's not time yet. But when we went to go look at building number 2 starts tomorrow, ironically enough, there was an air conditioning unit already at the base of the building ready to go out for tomorrow's garbage.
Not a window one that you would
It's
see
the ones,
from the street.
It's the ones that you hide.
The ones that sit, you can move around from room to
inside
room.
those.
The inside ones. So because with the sub-metering, now the building management can sit there and click, 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 and see how much energy usage each place is using. And suddenly you come across one, it's like, oh, wait a minute, everybody's using 30 kilowatt hours. This guy's up to 164
in a weekend.
Maybe he's running a small garment factory in there.
We've actually seen that too.
And the big thing that they used it as where
we've
they run stores. They run bodegas.
Our largest customer is the New York City Housing Authority, and we have found
public housing.
Yeah. And the product was designed specifically for that. So if you want to talk about where has it been bulletproofed, it's been bulletproofed in the right spot.
I'm sure.
And we have found bodegas, convenience stores. We found laundry. We found
small hospital.
We've actually found a marijuana growing facility.
There you go with the lights.
Well,
Lots of energy there.
The lights were like these.
Yeah.
It was a constant 86, 87 degrees.
Yeah.
Never changed, and the energy never changed. So it never went down. Like when we leave, when we go home, we leave, the energy goes down.
Yeah.
Well, that one was just.
You can make some conclusions about that.
Very easy conclusions. Yeah.
It's great.
It's wonderful stuff.
And it's not a violation of privacy, is it?
No. It's a computer. Nobody's really looking at it.
Well, you have an interest, communitas. You have an interest in knowing, the building has an interest in knowing what's what, because you're trying to save energy.
We're trying to save energy.
And this is a very important, purpose. This is the mission for everyone.
We're trying to save energy.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys, you have this discussion. You realize the market is full of opportunity, ripe. Yeah. And then what do you do about that? I mean, you made a deal. You made a deal.
Well, so on my first day, we had our cup of coffee, and I went about my business to go make some cold calls. And I will say this, they don't necessarily say New Yorkers are the friendliest people, but I will say, with my experience here, I have found the friendliest people. I mean, I can go to the front door of any building I've been to, like I did today. I did it today when we left one meeting. Hey, where's a resident manager? Hi, my name's Mark. 2 questions. Does anybody pay for their own electricity here? No. Are you aware of the law change in 2012? No. No? Ding, ding, ding. I mean, here, who's the property manager? And then we just take it. And that's how this all started. It all started with, I went to the largest one. I got to our first success story in 3 steps. I went to one building, which was the largest one in the Hawaii Condo Guide. Out the back door is the second largest one. And in the second largest one, the resident manager lived in a building that was already moving towards sub-metering and said, hey, you should go right there because budget's been approved, and so that's where we're at.
Hemingway would have called it a movable feast. Wherever you go.
Yeah, that's a great phrase. It is a movable feast. And as long as you have his guide that says which building is electricity included in the rent, it's a no-brainer.
Okay, so you're working down this channel of opportunity, and soon enough you will achieve a very large percentage of the pre-1978 buildings.
Yes.
And it works for everybody because the homeowner, gets a benefit. He pays the spread between, say, $150 and $500, but he makes that up in savings pretty quickly, especially if he behaves himself. I mean, in terms of energy efficiency. I guess the building is a more attractive building.
Absolutely.
In terms of selling or renting space.
Because the maintenance fees go down.
Yes, right.
Right.
And it's fair.
Yeah.
And of course, as a community, we use less, fossil fuel right now. So all of that works well. So the other thing I wanted to get to is this box here.
Yeah.
So we have electronics, and after all, our name is ThinkTech. I mean, technology is our middle name.
Yeah.
Some people say it's our last name.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
So tell me about the electronics. Tell me about the console where you can look, you as, say, the building manager, or you in New York, wherever you are, can tell what's going on in a given condo.
I will.
What is it like?
So let me go back to how we got started. So submetering is not new. Electronic submetering is not new. Electronic submeters have been around since 1982, 83-ish. And from there, they continually get better. Where we started, InTech 21 in particular,
So submetering is where you get the wire that's coming into point A, coming into his apartment or condo, whatever it is, and you cut it. And then you insert...
We interrupt it.
You interrupt it, and then you put this magic box in there.
Yes.
And the magic box gets on the internet, I guess.
I'll explain that. And
it sends it back to somebody. And whatever it does, the utility is willing to accept the numbers that come out of the meter at that point of interruption. If I'm wrong, I want you to tell me. Marty's already telling me.
The utility has nothing to do with this. Nothing has changed. The utility has 1 meter for the building. They still read it. They still want their money.
The division is done at the association level.
That is correct.
Okay. But that should be easy because you're going to give them software. They don't have to sit there with a quill pen and figure out who owes what.
So we're in tech, right? Okay.
I hope so.
So,
whoops. We're doing tech now. I feel it. We're going to take a short break.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Break.
That's Marty Sanders, Smart Solutions, and they are smart, and Jim Leonard, InTech 21. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll be right back after the short break to a further discussion of submetering for Hawaii, for the condos and the multifamily units. And wow, this is very instructive and useful to everybody. Thank you. We'll be right back.
My name is Alice Lee Hagan. I host the ThinkTech Hawaii BizEd Spotlight. We talk about fascinating people and interesting issues that affect our island state here in Hawaii. We broadcast every Thursday from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 4 and on Olelo 54. Make sure you tune in and we'll see you soon. Aloha.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're here at ThinkTech Talks Community Matters because it does. We're talking about submetering for Hawaii for the condos and the multifamily units with Marty Sanders and Jim Leonard, who are in an interesting kind of alliance. Is an alliance the right word?
Absolutely.
Okay, alliances are everything, in business and in community, in the society. Okay, so we were talking about the fact that it's not the utility gets the submetered information. The utility only gets the information for the whole building. And the building itself, through its association or whoever runs it, is going to make that division. But I sense, because you're a tech guy, and because InTech 21 is a tech company, essentially, you have the software to do that with the push of a button.
Let me start with the technology, and then we'll get to how that actually works.
I was only joking about the push of a button. I'm sure it's automatic.
Almost. The technology is such that for InTech 21 is different. The name stands for Innovative Technologies for the 21st Century. So if you're not familiar with building automation systems from Honeywell, Siemens, Johnson Controls, they started with something and they're trying to make it smart. Bring the technology, bring it up in technology. InTech 21 is not a manufacturer of submetering alone. They're a manufacturer of technology. So when they looked at the submetering marketplace for the New York City Housing Authority, they said, let's begin with, let's begin with the internet. Now, when I met George and Victor, the partners of InTech 21 in 1997, those of us that can hear it can listen. They were talking about data in a cloud in 1997.
Whoa. Whoa.
I didn't know what
ahead of their time.
I had no idea what they were talking about. I could understand what they meant, meaning the data wasn't going to reside here, it was going to reside there, but still really didn't get it. We were still using, actually, InTech 21 was the first application service provider for Netscape, which is even, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I
gone.
can't remember that name.
Right.
Maybe Marty can remember that name. It just escapes me. I'm too young for
So
that.
they designed it from, let's put the data out in the cloud first, and we'll build products that hang on the cloud. So when they looked at the sub-metering marketplace, that's what they did. And then rather than build it like most of our competition in this market build sub-meters by taking things off a existing product and trying to shove it in a smaller, nicer box and do it this way. We actually started with the idea of, let's make it small. Let's make it look attractive because it's going to be in someone's home. So you're looking at the smallest box for sub-metering in the industry.
Okay,
And,
so this wire over here
is just for a sample, so that you could see it.
But it has numbers on it. It reads out.
Right, so this is the only one that also can read to the watt hour. Most of your sub-meters only read to a
Where's it getting
kilowatt
that
hour.
information? Have
Right.
you got it connected to the studio here?
Right now it's just to show, it's just for display.
Okay, display.
But we're the only ones that we can read down to a watt hour instead of a kilowatt hour. So it's 1/1000th of a watt
Okay.
hour.
So this is going to go on my wall,
That'll go in the wall.
and this is going to this wire is
This
going to go.
will not be there.
This is wireless.
So
It's wireless.
it's going to look like
It's a
this.
wireless box.
Yes, it's going to look like that when it's installed. You won't see this
Okay,
cable.
I don't know if our friends can see this, but there's that's on the bottom there. It's really small.
Yeah, it's very small. It's next to a thermostat.
So I had a little sticky on the back, and before you know it, it's on my wall.
If anybody
I can-
wants, I can email that to them. Just get my email address.
What's
Yeah.
your email?
Marty Sanders 808 at gmail.com, or my Smart Solutions email, which is I have the same one. Okay.
Okay, so you go in, you disrupt the wire.
We go in, we take the panel cover off, turn all the circuit breakers off, loosen the A-phase conductor, loosen the B-phase connector, pull them out of position, put in a CT, a current transformer. People call them donuts. The donut slips around the wire. It measures the amount of electricity that's
You don't
going
have to
through
cut
it.
the wire, though.
No, have to cut
It
anything.
just reads what's going through.
That's
Ooh,
it.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So-
that communicates with this.
That
through the wall.
actually is wired to it, like this is wired to the wall. This is going to be sitting next to the electrical panel.
Okay.
So from here, it wirelessly talks 902 megahertz to the one beneath it, or two beneath it,
Oh,
or
I
three
see.
beneath it.
This transmitter.
It's what they call a network node.
Yeah.
It sends and receives. It's not one-way communication.
Okay. What does it what does it receive if it's
So-
getting it from the donut around the main wire?
So it's getting how much current is flowing through the wires.
Yeah.
It has voltage connected to it.
Yeah.
To feed it.
Yeah.
So volts times amps equals power.
Yeah.
So then you combine the two together and you now have kilowatt hours, the power being consumed.
Okay.
That then takes it and puts it into a packet. Now, when I say a packet, think visually. Think like a sugar packet or a
Envelope.
NutraSweet packet,
Little
whatever it is.
Envelope. Yeah.
An envelope. It takes that packet that we can't see
Yeah.
and then tosses it out into the wave that we can't see.
Right.
And the next meter that can hear it says, oh, let me take that. Now let me shove it downstairs. And it takes it and throws it to the next person
This
that
is
can
like
hear it.
mesh technology.
It's called wireless mesh technology. Yeah.
Okay. See, we learn things here.
It's beautiful.
Okay. So this ultimately goes to the Condo Association.
It ultimately goes to a local server that resides on site.
Yeah.
That local server is tied into a central server, the cloud,
Which you can observe,
which is our cloud.
and you actually process this at your place.
Yes.
And you can see the right division, the right distribution of the
Yes.
cost for that particular building.
Yes.
And then you can sort of send a report back, or do you send bills back?
Well, we do a lot
We're
of
flexible.
We do a lot of
whatever
things.
needs to be done.
What we do is we then, first of all, while it's being installed, we can kind of project manage whether the meter's been installed correctly or not. That's how. So what you don't get is in the metering business, it's not like a light. When you turn the switch and the light goes on, hey, we're good. When you install this and it lights up, you may not be good. If you don't install it correctly, you have the ability to only get half of the consumption. So we teach people how to install it correctly, but then we also project manage, if you will.
So you have installers here that do this.
Absolutely.
The team goes in,
Absolutely.
and their local guys put it together.
In fact, they're the ones. They have the installation contract with the AOAO.
And this little box, this is the big box.
Yes.
Call it the beige box.
The beige box.
And then there's another one, a little white box.
That is a thermostat. You've seen a thermostat.
Yes.
Before. So what we're trying to give people is a reference as to, if I'm not in front of them and they just saw this, how big is really this box? That big is a little bit bigger than a thermostat.
Yeah.
Because most people have seen it.
Okay.
It's just a point of
Just
reference.
proportionate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So so either a bill or information goes to the Condo Association, and they make a bill, and the result is that the as part of their common area expenses, this is more your line of work. As part of the common area expenses, each person in the condo with a multifamily unit has to pay that bill. Okay, and it's part. Am I right about this? Is probably in your manual. If they don't pay that bill, they're not paying the common area expenses, and they're in deep kimchi. They're going to get hurt because they got to pay that bill right along with real property tax and everything else.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you don't stick to the association.
Okay. Well, I think I got the picture, and I think this is great. And you have competition, you guys?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
You mean there are other people with teams installing these kinds of
Absolutely.
When you
But
say
not
these
the same
kinds,
technology.
Not even close.
There you go.
things? What?
No, I was going to say, when you say these kinds of things, I was saying, well, they're sub-meters, but they are, they operate totally differently.
Most of my competition like to put the meters into the hallway in a closet where it's cheaper. If they can.
Where are your meters then?
In the apartment.
Oh, okay.
Now, can I explain why it's better in the apartment?
Well,
when we leave your apartment and we close the door, you have now the ability to do your own energy audit. You can look at the screen and say, hey, turn that light on. Whoa.
and you can make sure this is working. You
We
turn
do-
that
we-
light
we-
on or
we-
off, you can see the reaction.
So 30, 45, 60 days from now, when you get your electric bill, you're the owner, you say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about that bill. We have the ability to say, okay, let's talk about that bill, and then let's graphically look at how you're using
And you
your
can
energy
send them
consumption.
that if they want that.
That's correct.
You can show
Absolutely.
why it got to be what it got to be.
We will give you a username and password to look at your own every 15 minutes if you like. You can log in right now into your apartment and watch your electricity. We have people in New York that, they're snowbirds, right? The ones that, they're in New York and then they leave.
Right.
They have the
From
ability.
Utah, they can call back home.
No, what happens is people that they know, grandmom and grandpa, mom and dad are in Florida, they'll go into New York and use the apartment.
So you'll know if anybody's
So
there.
you can watch.
Grandma and grandpa
So
can
I
sit there and
saw
look
it.
and say, hey, someone's in the house. Call up the building management. Hey,
Yeah.
go up and throw my kids out of
I
there.
know this is a sitcom somewhere. I've seen this. Maybe many sitcoms. Okay, we're out of time. Marty, I'd like you to, close, summarize, and at any point, that Jim has maybe, said something you disagree with, you have the opportunity to make rebuttal, or you can agree with everything he said. What'll it be?
I agree with everything both of you
There
said.
it is. Okay.
There we go. It's very, InTech 21 provides state-of-the-art wireless self-monitoring. Occupant monitoring for what is the largest growing segment of our costs in the condominium maintenance fees, which is devastating people, and this is bringing things back into accountability and into lower usage.
That's great. And I take it, by the way, that the bill for the installation goes directly to the condo owner.
AOAO, yeah. And
The AOAO?
And it gets split by the condo. So the AOA pays us, and then they take that and they say, okay, whatever it is divided by how many units is what's going back.
Everybody gets a piece of it.
That's right.
And then, what about the rebate? The rebate is
The rebate obviously takes off the top. So if it's $550
Yeah.
minus $150, every unit shareholder is paying $400.
the condo pays the bill and gets the rebate.
That's
So the individual owner doesn't really have to do anything except under Act, what was it?
Bill 18?
Act 18.
Act 18.
Act 18, he has to vote for it.
No,
They
it's
don't have
done.
to vote for it. It's done.
I'm sorry.
The condo is the
directors
the
vote for it.
board of directors.
Yeah, the board of
After the
directors.
board of directors act on this issue, the condo owner has nothing to do but enjoy the savings. It's
Enjoy
really
this.
simple for him.
It's really fairness.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, great. Well,
It's
good.
equitable.
This has been very educational, you guys.
May I add one thing?
Yes.
Okay. And we've just proved it here, and this is what I have my computer out here.
Yeah.
10%, I say it this way, 25% of the electric bill is consumed by the highest 10% of the users. So at the building we're in, there's 200 units. The highest 20 units, 10%, will you consume 25% of the electricity. We proved it today. The next highest 20% is going to use another 25%, which leaves the remaining 70% of people, 140, sharing the burden for the highest 60.
Well, that's profound. And it actually, it's consistent with a general feeling in the country that disparity, we're not going to tolerate disparity anymore.
We can't.
We're going to make it fair for everyone. So this has the ring of fairness about it.
Good. Thank you.
You're in the right place. Okay, that's Marty Sanders, Smart Solutions, and Jim Leonard, InTech 21. This is ThinkTech Talks, Community Matters, because it does. And we're talking about submetering for Hawaii, for the condos and the multifamily units. It's been very interesting. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us.
Aloha.